All right, I wanted to tell you guys a story. So, by the time I was 12 years old, I had a pretty good foundation for how I wanted to view the government. I viewed the government as something that it was good, it was bad, but it couldn't be fixed. And so, the way that I viewed the politicians, interestingly enough, it used to occur to me when I went to the school library and I would be checking out a book, and for some reason I would look above the bookshelf behind the librarian and I would picture these men in suits. And I pictured the leader of China and I pictured our president up there. And the way that I saw them was that I saw them with a lot of reverence, because I saw them as people who had a lot on their plate. They had good tugging at them and they had bad tugging at them, you know? It was not a perfect system, you know? And my mentality about the government was that the United States government, you know, resulted in the Wright brothers. It resulted in, you know, all of these inventions. And, you know, it's got to be, you know, it's got to be good. You know what I mean? Essentially good, you know? And I didn't have any intention to invest very much of myself into concerning myself with what was going on with the government. It was a strong feeling, you know. Like I would go to the library and I would picture them in suits, and they looked like you know, that they were tall and they had nice suits on. They looked businessman. They looked professional. I just knew that there was, you know, they weren't good, they weren't bad. They just had a lot on their plate. It was a confusing situation, and I just had the utmost respect for them, to be quite honest with you. And so I don't think that I ever would have really departed from that very far had not, well, I know for a fact that I wouldn't have. Okay, by the time that I ever got it in my mind that I wanted to oppose the government, I had numbers in my face, people in Halloween masks. The message seemed to, you know, it seemed to be addressing me on some level, you know. It didn't escape me, you know. Now, consciously, I think it probably did escape me. But I can remember little flickers of maybe just a little something, I don't even know. Maybe not. But I just know, you know, that was the point in time at which I decided to oppose misplaced authority. And it didn't come from a place of, you know, having some kind of an agenda or being on some kind of rogue mission or anything like that. It came from a place of fear. People were dead. You understand? The government was taunting me, killing people, ruining my life. On some level, this occurred to me, you know, at some point. So anyways, I just want to let you know that. But anyways, the aliens are, they're making me feel threatened. I don't know if they're making me, yeah, well, they're just fucking with me. Earlier they said, because I was talking to them, and I was like, why? Or I said, what did I do wrong? And they said, nothing. And I said, well, they feel like I did something wrong, so that's a lot of people to think I did something wrong. They didn't respond, which, you know, it just, you know, threatening people, I mean, I don't know. If they think I did it, I mean, that's kind of borderline, you know? I mean, by the time you're threatening people and stuff, it's like, and I get like the jealousy stuff. The public needs to see me ruined because they can't see the Illuminati jealous or something. Yeah, that's a little bit, that's a little bit out of bounds. You know what I mean? But as far as, me threatening people, I'm a little bit more open to the notion of that being wrong. Well, they didn't respond. So, obviously it just fits in the same category. People with Stockholm syndrome and all this kind of stuff. And I said, is there any way that I can smooth it over? And they said, I don't remember exactly what they said, but I remember they said the word fuck. And I think they said, once you did that, it doesn't fucking matter, And so, I'm going to have to deal with it. And so, one of the things, they've been screwing with me with some stuff. I've gotten to the point with it where I can just kind of redirect my mind and be like, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm not even going to fucking let you fuck with me about that. But on some level, like just recently, a few minutes ago, it was like, well, subconsciously, I know that I'm supposed to feel it. And I just kind of just made myself feel it, all the bewilderment and everything, because I knew y'all needed it somehow. And so, but anyways, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just another day of getting my ass kicked. You know what I mean? It's just honestly another thing that I didn't sign up for every day. If it's either the government. Let me tell you something. Do you know if there's one thing I would not want to go out of my way and pick a fight with? Can you guess what it is? Of all the things on the face of this earth? Can you guess? It's the government. Yeah, that's the last thing I would ever want to fuck with. And to be honest with you, it's been my worst fucking nightmare. People with Halloween masks making music and shit, millions of dollars being spent on that. Kill, 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 kill. Oh, we're going to kill your whole family. Dude, you know what I'm saying? Probably did kill my brother. Yeah. And threatened my whole family and all this shit. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even do anything. I just boom, all that shit just landed in my lap. Anyways, but yeah, I've finally gotten to the point where I've made peace with just any fucking thing that's going to happen. It took a while. I'm talking like anything, It took a while, but I did get there to the point where I just had to, because they're saying, oh man, cut your dick off, stab people in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Kill, rape your dad, kill little kids. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of shit bounces around your head. It can make you go insane. You know what I mean? Even with knowing that probably the government couldn't kill me if they wanted to. That's just a fact. And I don't have to play games with these people and use deception to tell them that ultimately, but they could probably fuck with me somehow if I didn't. But either way, it's just, and nobody really wants to be around me, obviously. It's like death walking around, It's like a curse, you know what I mean? I'm like a plague walking around. And so being by yourself, you start to get paranoid, start thinking about all kinds of crazy shit. And, it's just, I had to just come to terms with it because it's going, well, the people would just jump for joy if somebody grabbed me and just cut my cock off. Just for saying I don't like the government. That's how washed up they are. But, at the same time, and the government would love that. You know what I mean? And just everybody would just love it. So I had to get to the point where I'm like, okay, so if you actually do that, I can actually just emotionally remove myself from the whole situation. Can you imagine actually getting to the point in life where you would have to be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So, and that's what it's all about for me. You know what I mean? It's like Joseph Stalin said, a good Bolshevik has no family. You know, if I in my position, if I was to prioritize anything or even place a value on another person's life, then they would have that as collateral. They would have that as leverage somehow. So I don't. Are y'all proud of what you created here? And I don't have any kind of feelings about, because, and that's another good thing too, for them to know that, to know on no uncertain terms. I've made peace with everything, man. I can go to a place through meditation inside of my mind that is pure bliss, and it's total separation from the physical world. It really wouldn't matter what you did to me. But there you are. So I just wanted to let you, but you know, because here's the deal. Y'all are going to sit there and try to find some kind of weakness, you know, probably end up killing some person that I don't even give a shit about. You know what I mean? So it's not that I care. It's just that, you know, I'm letting that happen by giving a shit about whether or not they live or die. So I don't. Do you understand that? And I don't give a shit what you do to me. And to be perfectly clear with you, you're not going to do shit to me. I know you got all kind of ideas in your head because you think these aliens, they're going to let us fuck him. No, that's not going to happen. Do you understand? That isn't going to happen. Okay? Because what you created was a monster. You understand that? That's what you got around to. Yeah. When I saw those fucking numbers, I beat an IQ test. When I saw those numbers on that Slipknot album, it didn't go over my head. You understand that? At all. Okay. Just want to make sure that you understood that. Because you've been creating something that's going into preparation mode for a very long time. You ever heard what the Art of War talks about, pressing a desperate enemy? Do you know what it says? It says, do not press a desperate enemy. But what you did was created desperation and then pressed it and pressed it and pressed it. And what did you get? You got a big indictment. A big indictment. In fact, you tried to pursue something that you couldn't kill, even though the Art of War said, do not attack crack soldiers. And what's it say? These skills develop interdependently. Therefore, there is nowhere that one goes without benefit. You see what I'm saying? I went all the way to the top to be able to see it before it happens, to be able to see it before it's planned, to be able to see it before it's thought of. These three skills develop interdependently. And you know I was already at the top, right? So nowhere did I go without benefit. But you kept, you know what I'm saying, coming and saluting the North Korean generals, thinking you won. You know what I'm saying? You didn't win shit. Okay? What you won was an ass whooping, bitch. And all I had to do was just be desperate. And all you had to do was create the problem. Your problem, the desperation. And then I would just always be like that. Why did you do that? See why I'm in trouble for even threatening somebody? Because I can't lose. They're putting these notions in my head just so you feel satisfied with that. Because because they know that I can't be killed. And it's essentially a power monopoly. Because here's the deal. I'm about to take control of the government. And so it's just a lot to be somebody that can't be killed and then go around and like threaten people and shit. But you motherfuckers created that problem, see? Because anytime you directly and egregiously violate someone's rights, absent recourse, as we've seen with the war on drugs, and what did you do? You directly and egregiously violated my rights, absent recourse, created violence in me, in the person that you're like, what? And I know, and I don't want to like, because I feel like I just corner you with logic to the point where you just like, you're not even logical at this point. You're just pissed. And I get it. But here's the deal. It just, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to, okay? You don't have to put me in a position where I get so upset that I start threatening you and then I gotta get my brain fucked with, okay? And in addition to that, I'm a pretty happy guy. Look, you know what it says? It's good to be king. It's easy to keep somebody like that happy. Just leave them alone, okay? And seriously, you know, wrath comes and goes. You know what I mean? Just don't be in the way of it by the time this shit ends up in my hands. Because for one, I don't even want to fucking kill you. Okay? Because then I'm going to be fucking thinking, oh shit, I killed this fucking person. That's wrong. I don't even believe in it. I want to put it into the Constitution that capital punishment is prohibited. You know, what is that? Just so you can satiate your anger? You know what I mean? I hate that guy. What about the family? They hate him. Well, you hate him enough, so then we get to kill him? You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. Then what? Then he's gone? Does he suffer when he's dead? No. So what do we get out of that as a society? Nothing. Anyways. But we'll leave that for another day. Look, the point of this story is that I don't believe in capital punishment. Don't turn me into a monster, please. This is how savages live. You know, down in Mexico, they make them fight each other with pickaxes and hammers. The tourist buses that go down there, they pull them over on the side of the road and make them fight with pickaxes and hammers to the death for their entertainment. That's savagery. You know, we're better than that.